Hello, everyone, and welcome. This evening, we're graciously hosted by Odyssey Pets here in Dallas off Preston Road. And absolutely, come on down at some point and check out this wonderful, wonderful store. This evening, our guest speaker is going to be Algae Barn. And before I turn it over to Algae Barn, I have a few just housekeeping announcements. If you are a Bounce Pack winner, please make arrangements with me to pick up your prize before prizes are forfeited in middle of July. Our July meeting is going to be, where are we going to be? At Sogato Aquatics, and that will be another hybrid meeting. So you can come in by Zoom or you can come in person. Our guest speaker that evening is going to be the creator of Miracle Mud. So that should be very fascinating. I'm very much looking forward to that. A shout out to our photo of the month winner for this past month was user ID Michael Vincent. So congratulations, Michael Vincent. We can kind of guess what your name is based on that. And please submit your photos for this coming month's contest, as well as voting is open. Everyone is able to vote, whether you're a premium member or a free member. Voting is open to everyone, and winners of the photo contest get a $50 gift certificate, their choice of any of the club's sponsors. So winner choice. It can just go to the website and see all the many sponsors that we have. So this evening, Algae Barn has put together this wonderful presentation of fantastic information for us. They also have a surprise, and I have 2 bottles of Ocean Magic. So at the end, after Algae Barn takes questions and answers, we're going to do a drawing, and whether you're here in person or on the Zoom, maybe we'll do, because we have a bunch of people here in person, maybe we'll do one here on the in-person, and then whoever's on Zoom. And the Zoom people, I will find a way to get with you to get you your Ocean Magic Phytoplankton. So stay tuned, and questions and answers is going to be Raven and her whole team. So thank you very much. They're all over the country, but they've come together this evening to help support us. So Raven, thank you very much for graciously putting this together, working with me. We all love your products. You are absolutely fantastic. May I just turn it over to you?
Absolutely. This is a pre-recorded presentation because it was easier to get, like Lisa mentioned, all of our employees together at one time to do it this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and start it. Hello everyone at the Dallas-Fort Worth Marine Aquarium Society, and thank you for allowing us to speak today. We're going to have a different team member touching on each topic that we feel is important to what we do. We will also be providing the board members with blog articles, product links, and a discount code in case you're interested in learning more about anything we go over today. Welcome to our Algae Barn presentation.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I'm the Customer Support Manager for Algae Barn and the Senior Sales Rep for Cade Aquariums. I have been in the hobby since I was little, doing mostly fresh and brackish tanks, and began delving into saltwater about 9 years ago. I'm going to talk a little bit about refugiums, so let's get started. What is the purpose of a refugium, you might ask? There are many benefits to starting and keeping a refugium in your marine aquarium. First and foremost would be nutrient control, nitrates, phosphates, and pH management. Waste products or excess nutrients that are generated by the consumers in your aquarium are all rediverted back into autotrophic pathways. This is where the refugium comes into play. The refugium is an auxiliary tank on your main display tank. It serves as sort of a refuge for both primary producers and primary consumers, such as pods. There, desirable and beneficial macroalgae are cultivated out of the reach of large, gluttonous herbivores such as tangs. Pods proliferate there too, safe from constant predatory pressure of small fishes and damsels, gobies, and etc. Even so, as the pods reproduce, they drift out of the refugium into the main tank to continuously feed fishes, corals, and so on. As the macroalgal bed grows to maximum capacity, it can be harvested and either discarded or, even better yet, fed out as a nutritious live veggie for fish and invert herbivores in the main tank. Does a refugium help pH? The short answer is yes. A proper refugium growing macroalgae like chaeto will rapidly consume excess carbon dioxide from the water, reducing carbonic acid and raising the pH level. A refugium with macroalgae will remove phosphate, nitrate, and other nutrients via the macroalgae. The refugium should have strong lighting, good flow, and should contain a macro like chaeto, which is fast growing. The faster it grows, the more nutrients it will remove from the system. How important is a refugium for a reef tank? So, in a nutshell, refugiums are very beneficial to reef aquariums. They ultimately reduce nitrate and phosphate in your aquarium and provide an excellent natural food source for just about any animal in your tank. What size of refugium do I need, you might ask? Algae Barn has a chart on the page with the Ultimate Refugium starter packs, but as a general reference, a refugium that is equal to 10 to 20% of the display volume is adequate for substantial nutrient reduction. The Ultimate Refugium starter pack, or URP, helps to seed the right beneficial organisms in the right amount at the right time. This significantly shortens the conditioning period, and yes, it does make seeding and conditioning your refugium incredibly easy. This pack is available in several sizes and even allows you to select a macroalgae from a list of Algae Barn's 4 most popular species. The URP addresses the major concerns of starting and maintaining a healthy aquarium system, such as previously mentioned, which is stabilizing the nitrogen cycle, introducing a select mix of copepod species, and growing a thick bed of macroalgae. Last but not least, the most common question we get is, should I turn on my refugium from day one? The answer to that is yes and no. You want to wait until your tank has some measurable level of nitrate and phosphate to support the growth of macroalgae before turning on your refugium. Without those nutrients, any macroalgae cannot survive.
Hey everybody, I'm John, and I'm a customer service representative and graphic designer for Algae Barn, and I'd like to share a bit about macroalgae and how they can benefit your saltwater aquarium. In the hobby, there tends to be a constant battle in regards to nutrients within systems that makes us look to various methods to help keep these under control. There are several types of macroalgae used within the hobby, and they all have their benefits to marine aquariums within the home, including nutrient export, helping balance pH, and even providing a home for copepods to help establish a sustainable population. By far, the most popular macroalgae that most aquariums know is Chaetomorpha. This wiry filamentous algae is a very fast-growing and efficient tool, provided the proper environment is supplied to be able to allow it to grow. It requires strong lighting and a stable source of nitrates, phosphates, and other essential elements, such as iron, to be able to help continue to grow, but with these needs met, it is a wonderful addition to help control dissolved nutrients. Another benefit Chaetomorpha has is its ability to act as a mechanical filter. With a Brillo pad-like structure, water flows through it, and it can help capture detritus, uneaten food, and anything else floating around the system to help mechanically clean your water as well. Another benefit to the structure is it has ample space to take up microfauna, such as copepods and amphipods, to provide a safe space, a refuge. While living in this safe space, pods and other microfauna reap another perk from the previously mentioned benefit. The detritus that builds up within it helps provide a stable food source for the pods, in addition to phytoplankton added to the system, of course, which in turn helps your pod population grow, providing a live food for your fish and coral, thus bringing in the tank ecosystem full circle. Another fast-growing macroalgae with many of the same benefits as Chaetomorpha is sea lettuce. This green leafy algae does well with intense lighting and higher amounts of flow, allowing it to tumble within the refugium to help make sure light reaches all sides of the macroalgae. Due to its fast growth rate, it also has a need for stable nitrate and phosphate within the system to be able to help grow and maintain the nutrients at an acceptable level. Once the sea lettuce reaches the bounds of your refugium, you will find an additional perk that the sea lettuce has over Chaetomorpha is that you can recycle it by feeding your trimmings to your fish. This eliminates waste within the system while still providing the nutrient control that you need. Red ogo is another macroalgae that we offer at Algae Barn. It is a beautiful red branching macroalgae from the Gracilaria species with short bushy fronds throughout. It is a fast grower as well, though not quite as fast as Chaetomorpha or sea lettuce, but this is where you can start balancing out what species to use for your specific needs by balancing out growth rates with nutrient availability. If your nutrients do tend to run on the lower side naturally, this may be a good choice, as red macroalgae tend to do a little better if there is a shortage of nitrates and phosphates, and even if there isn't as much lighting available, red ogo will tend to grow well. Red ogo, while it helps with nutrient control and provides a safe space for copepods and other macrofauna, is a highly prized food item for herbivores such as tangs. Pom-pom is the fourth main macroalgae that we carry. This shorter branching macroalgae with stiff, flat fronds is another red algae from the Gracilaria species that is a little bit of a slower grower, but this has its own benefits depending on your needs. If your system runs lower nutrient levels or is an ultra-low nutrient system, this may be the ideal macroalgae for you. Due to its slower growth rate, it can help maintain the numbers you need without stripping the system of all its nutrients, which would negatively affect things like coral. It is the most tolerant of the lower light conditions, which means it can be placed nearly anywhere within the tank or the refugium. Pom-pom can also be used as a food source for your herbivores, so save those trimmings. One thing to note is that you should keep an eye on your refugium on a normal basis, as you would need to trim the macroalgae when they fill up your refugium space. If you do not do this, then the macroalgae may stop growing entirely and may actually begin to die off due to a lack of nutrients or a lack of light availability. Finally, a benefit that all these can provide is if you run your refugium lighting on a reverse cycle, meaning when the display tent lighting is off, the refugium lighting is on, that through photosynthetic respiration, they can actually help stabilize pH for the entire system. All the mentioned macroalgae share many of the same benefits, but they each are special in their own way, and can be utilized to tailor your system to your specific needs. I hope this information can help you develop your system to run more efficiently and help increase biodiversity, leading to a happy tank. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Raven, and I'm the social media coordinator for Algae Barn. I'm going to talk to you about the 5 different species of copepods that we culture for our pod blends to seed your reef tank and refugium. Copepods represent the largest animal biomass on Earth and are a huge part of the food chain. They are also considered a key carbon sink in the ocean. All 5 of the following copepod species can be found in our newest pod blend, Galaxy Pods. Starting with the most popular and well-known Tigpods. They are among the hardiest and most adaptable of all known marine inverts. They have been found at water temperatures as low as 50 degrees and to over 104 degrees Fahrenheit. They also remain active in specific gravity ranging from 1.0045 to 1.078. Adults can reach up to 3 millimeters in length and live a benthic lifestyle, which means the adults can be found crawling on your rock and substrate. Their orange color and their surface crawling preference makes them a great food source for mandarins and bunnies. Tigpods are considered a reef tank superfood, loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and they are extremely nutritious. Next we have Tisbe pods. They're one of the most prolific, even with their life cycle being so short, which is estimated to be around a month. They prefer warmer temperatures of around 78 degrees, and egg sacs typically appear within the first 7 to 10 days of its life. Egg sacs can reemerge as soon as 2 days after their hatch of their previous brood. Because Tisbe pods have some of the smallest mouths when it comes to copepods, they can consume waste in your aquarium before it even becomes visible to you. Developing pods are commonly found swimming throughout the water column in your reef tank, eating phytoplankton and possibly other free-floating particles. As adult, Tisbe pods are some of the smallest pods and tend to inhabit the smallest nooks and crannies of your rock. This makes them an awesome member of your cleanup crew while also being a nice treat for your fish. Apocyclops panamensis. These guys are very popular when it comes to culturing for the home aquarium because they can tolerate a wide range of temperatures as well as salinity. They reproduce at a rapid rate, twice as fast as Tisbe and Tigpods, laying eggs every 4 to 6 days. Their young, at less than 100 micrometers, are highly nutritious and are desirable for many filter feeders. While they are considered to be omnivores, they do show a great preference for diatoms and cyanobacteria. Their young provide an extremely nutritious food source for zooplanktivores, These larval stage apopods contain about twice the amount of free amino acid as Artemia. Though they are similar to many other copepods because they're an excellent source of proteins, fatty, and amino acids, they also contain an antioxidant pigment which acts as an awesome color enhancer for fish and coral. Oithona is a western Atlantic copepod that can be found from the Caribbean to Cape Cod. Their life cycle is around 14 to 16 days, and they produce very small, around 45 micron DINOFLAGELLATES, which exhibit a weak escape response, making it well suited to be cultured, to be fed to coral or marine fish larvae. They also feed on tiny particles such as bacterioplankton, phytoplankton, and microprotozooplankton, like ciliates. This is another type of copepod that will help to clean the water column by devouring suspended organic matter and transferring it into live food. And finally, we have Euterpina pods. They can be found in the Indo-West Pacific and Northeast Atlantic. This is our newest copepod that we only offer in our new pod blend, Galaxy Pods. Penopods can tolerate swings in temperature and salinity, and the females only carry one egg sac. Having only a 3-week growth cycle and a life expectancy of up to 3 months, Euterpina pods are an ideal copepod for culturing a new or established aquarium. This specific copepod is a tiny species, much smaller than all of the previous pods mentioned. It is also a benthic species, meaning it also really enjoys surfaces like Tigriopus. Euterpina pods prefer phytoplankton, but will also eat detritus. As we have consistently seen in this hobby, the more biodiversity, the better. While we expect all species of pods to seed, sometimes reefers have a tank that has an imbalance. This is why subscription of pods and phytoplankton can be super beneficial. It allows for a continuous way to introduce biodiversity that inconsistent water quality may not have allowed a certain pod population to flourish.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael, and I'm the customer service representative for Algae Barn. Today, I'd like to share with you all some of the benefits of phytoplankton and how our product, Ocean Magic, brings these benefits to your own marine aquarium at home. So, while you've likely heard of phytoplankton, you may have a few questions about exactly what it is. Well, phytoplankton are mostly microscopic, single-celled, photosynthetic organisms that live suspended in water. Typically, they are found just below the water surface. Like terrestrial plants, they take up carbon dioxide while using energy from light to make carbohydrates, and in turn, releasing oxygen in the process. Phytoplankton are known as primary producers of the ocean and are one of the key organisms that form the basis of the food chain. As such, it should be no surprise that when phytoplankton is incorporated into a marine aquarium, it brings with it a multitude of benefits to the habitat. And so, through constant research, experimentation, and the dedication to offer the best life blend of phytoplankton on the market, Algae Barn has come to develop Ocean Magic. Within Ocean Magic, you will find a blend of several species of live phytoplankton that have been carefully selected to provide these benefits to the home aquarium and the health of its inhabitants. One of these benefits being a readily accepted food source for many types of creatures. The live phytoplankton contained within Ocean Magic provides your copepods, corals, clams, sponges, and other filter feeders with a complete diet of highly nutritious essential fatty acids, proteins, vitamins, and amino acids. Ocean Magic also helps to promote a large, healthy population of copepods, which are dependent upon phytoplankton, particularly during their larval life stages. As your copepods are enriched by the nutrients within phytoplankton, and as the copepods are consumed, they in turn improve the health of your fish, inverts, and corals, which leads to much more vibrant coloration. Who doesn't love seeing their tank bright and active? But wait, there's more! Not only does Ocean Magic feed your tank's inhabitants and enrich their colors and quality of life, it is also designed to improve the water's quality. It does so by outcompeting nuisance algae for nitrate and phosphate, leaving less of these nutrients available for use by unwanted algae and inhibiting their growth. Perhaps, for example, you're experiencing trouble with diatoms or dinoflagellates. The phytoplankton within ocean magic also consumes harmful silicates, and in turn restricts the growth of dinoflagellates and diatoms. When looking to treat for these issues in your system, we generally recommend dosing ocean magic at twice the typical dose printed on the bottle for the best results. A countless number of our customers have rid themselves of these troubles with ocean magic. So, as you can see, phytoplankton is an incredibly beneficial organism to incorporate into your aquarium. With this information, we hope that you all may find even greater success in your reefing.
At Algae Barn, we work proudly towards our goal of a more sustainable and natural aquarium trade. We go through great lengths to bring you quality products as well as excellent customer service. We want to thank you for having us as a guest speaker for your club meeting and hope we were able to teach you something new today. Now I'm going to open up the floor to Sean so that he can answer any questions that you guys may have.
Hello. If anyone has any questions, more than welcome to answer.
So we're off mute. Can you hear us on this side?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I don't know why my video is not working, but I think there are questions. You want to come over to here?
Sure.
Okay.
So for dosing Phyto, so recommending 10 milliliter per 20 gallons, how frequently?
So we recommend trying to do that daily, typically around the same time every day. You can do it when you feed your fish. Your tank inhabitants start kind of getting somewhat of a syncing of their biological clock. For that, you'll notice polyp extension around the same time every day. And the big thing you want to do is you're kind of adding less force back into the aquarium. So you want to start with a little bit and build it up. As you start getting more and more of those filter feeders, you can increase the dose actually. But if you don't have a huge population of filter feeders in your tank, you're not going to get huge benefits by dosing a ton of phyto in. Part of the big thing is just building them up. And just like most things, like you're not going to notice detriment right away if you stop dosing it. But essentially, you've built up all these critters in your aquarium. They're going to start the population's going to start coming down as they get consumed by your fish or just the food source isn't there that once was.
Okay. Makes sense.
Are there any other in-person questions on this side?
Yes, I've pretty much for the past 5-6 years run a ultra low system, grid system, and no matter how hard I tried to grow Chaeto, I could not. It would just melt away.
Yeah.
So I basically restarted my system. It's 150 gallons, and with this next speaker that's coming, I'm going to try his system. I basically seeded my sump area with 40 pounds of miracle mud.
Okay.
To attempt this. I used to always have a nice pod, Copepod family in my system, but I'd say about the past 6-7 months, I've slowly seen them just dwindle away. For what reason? I have no idea. So what would you recommend for as microalgae for my sump area with the addition of the miracle mud?
Right. So I think the miracle mud's gonna provide a lot of good trace elements and everything that sometimes it depends. And part of this, you start being able to play some games when you're running macroalgae and whatnot. Because it will be consuming your nitrates and phosphates. There's the potential to do less water changes. Now, again, it's why are you doing your water changes? because if you're doing them just to get rid of nitrates and phosphates, well, the macroalgae will take care of that for you. If you're changing the water for like the trace elements that you can't necessarily test for at home, you'd have to send it in for an ICP test. Well, then water changes are good because you don't want to just be dosing random elements into your aquarium thinking like, oh, a couple squirts of this, couple squirts of that. You know, you start throwing everything off balance if that's how you're going to keep it. Now, with regards to like microalgae or phytoplankton and dosing that, what's going to be good. So one of the really cool things with a lot of macros, especially like sea lettuce, again, if you do have tangs or fox faces, rabbit fish, you know, even some angels are really big macroalgae eaters. So you can kind of grow your food in the tank. The seaweed will actually contain the nitrates and phosphates that was removed from the water. You can either throw that out or put it back on a nori clip, feed it back. Another cool thing in the process, like sea lettuce actually grows a biofilm. It has like a very beneficial relationship with bacteria, good bacteria in the aquarium. Copepods will actually go on that and eat the biofilm there too. It's really, really cool how they'll go through and eat the biofilm that helps them grow, and you'll actually notice all these pods crawling on it. So now to get back to your main question, what we do see people do is they'll actually add the phytoplankton, the ocean magic, directly to their refugium to kind of give their pods the first go at it. And then it'll flow back through to the tank. Corals get another shot at it, or corals get a shot at it. And if not, the pods usually will go through and clean it up. So yeah, you can dose directly to it, but the macro ends up actually being this great kind of ecosystem or biological substrate for the pods to crawl all over and kind of help keep it clean. So it's one of those interesting things. By getting one, you can keep the population of the other higher. You can get away with things like marine pure and other biomedia if you're really trying to bump up the population. That's something we recommend as just kind of additional substrate for the pods.
Yeah, I do. I do the bricks.
Mm-hmm. So that will definitely help. The other thing, if you are having challenges with growing some macro, you may want to review what other strategies you're doing for nitrate and phosphate reduction. If you're running a ton of like GFO, granulated ferric oxide.
Very, very little. I usually try to keep my phosphates under 0.05.
Okay.
And my nitrates are around 10.
Mm-hmm.
That nitrates, I've been able to do that with just vodka dosing.
Okay. So something
or GFO, which is maybe less than half a cup.
So this is actually great because so when you're going with like the vodka dosing, that's also going to be reducing, you know, nitrates pretty heavily with all the bacteria growth you get. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to try and do vodka dosing and macro at the same time because the bacteria grow so fast. They can die very fast too. They can have that short, and the idea is to skim them out, you know. But you're having these competing systems that are going to keep your nutrients really low. And a lot of times macro has to go through a slight acclimation period to where it's kind of adapting to like your water quality before it really wants to start growing. So by keeping your you may essentially, when you add the macro, you're going to want to probably slow down the amount of vodka dosing, not necessarily just stop it, but just slow it down and ease it back. Same with the GFO. And keep an eye on it. If you start seeing it shoot up really high and the macro's not doing anything, you can ramp those systems back up. But really, you're going to try and have the macro take over. And to be honest, it's like one of the cheapest and best things in the aquarium hobby. I mean, it's almost a terrible business model. Where I could sell you something for about $25-30 that you'll never have to buy again. and that you're actually going to be producing and growing it in your aquarium. I mean, how many other things can you buy once in this hobby and have years later for that kind of cost? It can sometimes be very like challenging to kind of, kind of make that switch over.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's like your aquarium's on cruise control. You now have high levels of oxygen. You now have low levels of CO2. Your corals are going to be calcifying faster. It's a home for copepods. I mean, it's really kind of this excellent like value that you get from something.
I kind of struggle with pH because I run a calcium reactor with my CO2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a battle for me to
dial that in. Yeah, it's like you're trying to balance all these like reactor systems, and then you're trying to shove something new in there. So it can be done, but have a little bit of patience with it.
Patience.
It's typically you add it, you have to baby it a little. I'm not saying this about your tank. I know some people have their tank entirely like covered in nuisance algae. They kind of expect you throw the seaweed in, it's going to outcompete everything. Your tank's going to be polished in about a week. So I don't want to set unrealistic expectations about what macroalgae and seaweed can actually do. Again, it's not going to scrub your tank for you, but it's once you can get the system, the biology, you can really add that ecosystem component in there. Keep maintaining a tank is so much easier because you have the microfauna, because you have the nitrate and phosphate reduction essentially automated, because you are growing, some live food in there for your bigger inhabitants. It's overall a very nice balancing system.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Great question, by the way.
Retired, so I'm up for challenges. It keeps me busy.
Right. It's the aquarium hobby, right?
Yep.
If it was very easy, it would be a different hobby.
I have a question. When we get when we purchase a microalgae from the vendor or get from someone in a club,
yeah.
So is there any way we can? I heard people say that we can use a coral X drop to get rid of the parasite inside the microalgae. Is that true, or is there any way we can make sure the algae?
It's really challenging because some of those coral medications are designed more for corals. And so they're not necessarily going to get the hitchhikers that you would get on macroalgae. So sometimes there's almost a different set of things you might get. Now, the other kind of thing is, what are you targeting? Because again, I know Coral RX or most of those medications target a specific set of like parasites or hitchhikers. Like there's flatworm exit, which works on both corals. It does work on macro if you're trying to target flatworms, but you need to know kind of what you're treating for, and the procedures aren't necessarily the same. You're gonna really have to play with it. We've gone through a pretty big like testing process. Some things, I know some people like to do freshwater dips. For some macro, it may work. Others we've seen where it's almost algae dependent or even kind of batch dependent. Sometimes you can dunk it in fresh water, it looks fine that day, and you see it kind of melt 3 days later. And so it's something you're not necessarily going to see an immediate effect with some of these medications. The big thing I'm going to say is, yeah, I'm going to toot our own horn, like, buy from us. Second, you can look through, you can kind of manually inspect. But really the big thing is, if you are going to medicate it, know what you're targeting and kind of figure out, okay, what should we treat for and what shouldn't we?
Okay, got you. So that means that if we purchase a microalgae algae from your company, it pretty much guaranteed that it should be the parasite free, right?
Yeah, we're pretty damn good. You know, we're not 100% perfect, and it also depends on like how we go through. Like a lot of these, like some people may consider certain bacterium parasites or anything like that. It's not like we have Euterpina, but a lot of these macros, like sea lettuce, actually won't go through its full development cycle without certain bacteria there. So we're not saying that we're giving you biological clean room, sterile grade macros that's been grown in a petri dish up until that full ounce. Like we can't just take the biology out of the system. You can't necessarily just grow macro in petri dishes as a sustainable thing. But yeah, I think, you know, you're going to get a very great product from us. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome questions. What other questions do we have? Oh, put them on two screens. Then can you guys hear me? What I'll do is I'm going to recap announcements really quickly. Then I'm going to do a drawing here. Then I'm going to do a drawing online, and then I'm going to do a tour of the store. So hang tight. We've set up a little camera. I don't know what's wrong with the laptop, but you've got a camera. So if I go mute here, you'll at least see what's going on the. Okay. Had to shut down the sound system here on this side. There we go. Okay, so who's feeling lucky? Woohoo! We've got the raffles handed out on this side so that everybody continues to love our wonderful sponsor here. I'm going to do the drawing of the number. So, dun, dun, dun. And Odyssey Pets is our newest sponsor. So lucky number 4, you just won Ocean Magic. And let me, before I hand it to you, I want to hold it up to the screen so the online person knows what they're going to win also. Yeah. Congratulations. Also, I think somebody here, I have another bounce back prize. So before people start walking out the door, somebody I think is trying to get with me. So now I have a list of the people who are online, but where did I go with the list online? But I'm not sure who is an Algae Barn person online. So I know Drex is a club member. Greg, are you, who online would like to be in the drawing? I know Jack and Drex for sure. And I apologize. I know everybody by your user ID. I don't know you by your names.
You could just have them put a number in the chat between 1 and 10.
So I think it's just going to be Jack and Drex for online.
Jack and Drex. Okay, a choice of 1 and 2. Well, we can make that. Yeah. Who has a coin handy? I've
Put the credit card. Number sign up.
We also have things we're going to be giving to the store. They don't know that this is coming. Swedish fish.
Nice.
Algebra still on.
Yes, Algebra still on. Do you have a question for Algebra?
Actually, I do, yeah.
Yes, we have an algae barn question. So I'm going to turn this audio off and I'm going to plug back in on the other side.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear us? They
Yes.
can, 'cause I can't hear through there.
And I'm
We
sorry,
can-
we lost the audio for a little bit early on, so you may have already talked about this, but as far as the microalgae or macroalgae, I know that Chaeto is very popular and it grows very quickly, but I've got Colcarva in my Refugium.
Huh?
Is there, and I don't recall you talking about that, but is there a big advantage with the Chaeto versus Colcarva or disadvantage with Colcarva?
Yeah.
In Refugium?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one, Colcarva is banned in California. I mean, what isn't? But it's considered invasive. So we can't actually ship Colcarva. And so that's been one of the reasons we don't do Colcarva. Two, or we haven't. We actually have some strains we have in like R&D we're testing out, and then we just stop anyone from California buying it. Now it's going to provide very similar kind of CO2 benefits. There's CO2 reduction, which helps increase the pH of your tank. So you're going to get that similar benefit. I'm pretty sure it's some subspecies of Colcarva, they can go sexual. And what kind of happens then, and this is not very common, so it's not like if you have Colcarva, this is definitely going to happen. But when the macroalgae can get really unhappy, you turn off the lights for forever. You keep, I know some Colcarvas you need to keep a 24/7 light cycle on just to keep it permanently lit. But it can go sexual. Its body essentially starts dissolving and it releases spores all throughout the tank. So you get this huge inrush of ammonia, nitrate, and phosphate into your tank just from the biomass kind of leaving. And you typically, this isn't typically like your tank looks great the night before, you come in the morning and it's terrible. If you're paying attention to the macro, you start seeing the morphology or the physical changes of it. Now, I remember I did do the reading on some of the Colcarva where they were actually talking about potential toxin being released with Colcarva. I don't know if that's actually been an identified toxin. Or if that's just kind of the inrush of the ammonia, nitrate, and phosphate that people sometimes say like, my Colcarva went sexual, crashed my tank. You don't tend to see that very often. I think Mark Levinson, Malave's Reef, he's been running Colcarva, I think for like 10 years, 15 years in that tank, and it's never gone sexual. But a lot of this is just kind of, you get this huge tank stressor and, you get that domino effect where one thing kills another that causes a bigger die off. And if you don't kind of stop that chain reaction, that's where bad things happen. And I think a lot of the Colcarvas will be accepted by tangs and fox faces. I'm not sure if you've had that experience of feeding it back to the tank.
I really, no, I mean, occasionally a little piece will get in there and it never really spreads in the tank because I know it can be invasive, but if a small piece gets in there, they eat it up. So
okay, you may try taking some out and actually putting on like a nori clip. Okay. And if you have enough of like, an herbivorous kind of tank crew, they're just gonna, eat it and devour it. I guess one of the other benefits is some of the other macros are going to be pulling down different like trace elements So you kind of always get some macro going. I'm not sure if you ever like track the rates of it, but sometimes you'll see macros go through like, it's not necessarily like a linear growth, but a lot of that depends on how frequently you're pruning and how much light you're doing and how much you're feeding. When you get macro really in a cruise, you'll notice you can really like double or triple your tank feedings without really seeing a spike in nitrate. You just need to make sure that, you know, you're kind of getting rid of detritus and whatnot.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I had a question.
We have another question.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, just
Yeah.
I noticed you're in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer any type of tours of your facility?
We don't at the time. We've spent a lot of money like developing our methodology, and Copepods are always considered, I don't want to call them classified technology, but everyone's they're considered like the key for unlocking like breeding of pelagic fish, and that's not just for the aquarium hobby, but for food fish. Like it's something like 95% of saltwater fish are all wild caught. And I know Biota and ORA have done a lot to kind of change that. So I'm guessing it's probably getting closer to 90%. But the big challenge with things like tangs, with all of these fish that release these ultra small eggs, is that their mouth is so small. They need food particles that's like 45 microns or 40 microns. And those baby copepods grow up to the next stage in about 12 to 16 hours, depending on the species. I know Parvocalenus goes down, I think, like 8 hours. It's at the size the fish can actually eat it. And once it molts, that fish's mouth is now too small to eat that food. So I guess long story short, I wish we could do tours, but
Yeah.
we don't.
All right.
Ask if there's any other questions.
Any other questions?
Can you pull the plug out of the right side?
This one.
Okay. I'm not sure why I'm still. Okay, they're working on sound over there. So we have heads is going to be Drex. We have tails is going to be Jack. We have a shiny lucky penny.
Not copper. That jinxed us.
Oh, that's too funny and priceless. So it has to be Drex.
No.
Alrighty. So let's throw it on the floor and see what comes up. Literally.
That's crazy.
And it's heads, it's Drex. So Drex, congratulations. And we have some store people behind me. So I'm gonna take this off the stand. And let me come over here to the store people. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a sponsor of the Hobby Club. These are for you. And Chase, this is for you. And then I know it's after hours here at your store. This bag is for all your other owners and staff that you can pass that out to everybody. So everybody gets one. And everybody who's here local, enjoy some pizza. So we've got both a meat pizza and a cheese pizza. I'm not sure what's left there. Announcements recap. We have photo of the month. So please stop the echo. All right. Photo of the month. Oh, we still have echo. Oh my gosh. There's so much sound. Okay. So photo of the month, $50 gift certificate to the winner. So please vote in the contest and please submit your photos for the current month. And our congratulations to last month's winner, Michael Vincent, is the user ID. So we can guess your name. You should come up with a better name. What other announcements do we have? In July, we will be at Sagado Aquatics. They are also a relatively new sponsor of ours. They're in Plano. So we will be July 20th at 7 p.m. And the founder and creator of Miracle Mud is our guest speaker. Yay! We are taking volunteers for Aquashella. Don, thank you. We're going to start a thread up before the weekend. So people who want to sign up for Aquashella as a volunteer, we'll also do Reefapalooza. If you haven't yet heard, they're going to be here in Texas in October. So the club has a booth there as well. We'll be in the lobby. Did I miss any other announcements? Everybody's like, okay, you're fine. So I'm going to swivel the video and then I'm going to take you on a tour of the store. Okay. Does it go this way? It will go this way. All righty. So I'm going to start here in the aquarium section. And the store is so cool. They were able to relocate some shelves. So they smushed some things together to make room for our equipment this evening. They have a fascinating selection of dry goods. Here, Odyssey Pets is also going to be at Aquashella. And so if you stop by the store, you'll see a sneak peek of what's going to be there at their booth 704. I don't know our club booth yet. And I'm going to go up this aisle, I'm trying to go slow so I don't make you guys seasick. No pun intended. All different gravels and sands. And then over here. Beautiful rocks. Some driftwood for your freshwater tanks. More dry goods, salt buckets on the bottom. Filter media here. Now here they mush things together for us. So I can't get in there to show you everything. They are wonderful. And you can't quite see it in the picture. They have a lot of things for cats and dogs as well, but they have a dog toy that is a fish. And I just thought that was priceless. Here's one of their freezer sections. And this is frozen food. Quite a nice assortment and selection. They have lights here in stock. More dry goods, or a giant screen where you guys have been seeing yourselves, or we've been seeing you, I guess is more accurate. Excuse me. Then they have some display. Oh, you guys are fine. Don't mind me at all.
Where are they located, Lisa?
They're on Preston Road in Dallas. I'm kind of new to Texas, so I'm pretty lousy. That's the best I can give you. There's information on the website, our hobby club website in the partners area. It has their address.
Okay.
Yeah, I get around by GPS and I can't even tell you where you are, Drex, and I've been there several times.
It's all good.
And then we have just here in the center section, 3 large tanks with corals. Then I'm going to swing to my right and up because there's more fish. That one's in progress there. So we'll go back over here. And then they have a refrigerator right here. So if you need some refrigerated goods, they're here on the counter here. That's a clearance section. I found some nice fish things on an earlier clearance that they had. I'm going to transition into their cat and dog area. So if you're here, you can get things not only for your corals and fish, but also cats and dogs. And that's kind of rare in the area. And these are the refrigerated foods. Quite a selection. Bulk raw. So I'm going to open this because I'm nosy and I didn't look in here earlier. Ooh, duck patties. Wow. Salmon. Nice.
You
Cats and
said
dogs
duck
eat better than us. That's what it said.
Okay.
And there's canned duck that I'm going by on the shelf, but that was frozen. Oh, that's cute. I went right past that. Didn't even notice the cat tree there. And more food. Here and here. And more food. Here and here. And just a reminder, if you're a premium member of the Hobby Club, your discount applies only to fish. It does not apply to the cat and dog section. So that's more frozen. Nice selection of comfy beds for our babies. And foods, toys, and more beds, and more beds. Colors. Pooper scoopers, very nice. And crates. And cleaning supplies. And behind me are beds and carryalls and food. And dishes and shampoos, collars and leashes and pickup bag. You know how the pickup bags can go into handles? We have those. Safety outfits, safety harnesses, and outfits, you know, because some of our pups want to be in style. And they are an independent pet store. So we always want to promote local, right? Don't let the big guys run the small guys out. And yet, even though they're a small guy, they're able to have a tremendous selection. And they even have a jogging cart in stock for those of you who want some outside or even inside exercise. So here's a little Gen 7 Pets cart and more food. And somebody's getting some water tonight before they go home. And more fish. And that's Bab's back prize. I'm sorry. That's my stuff making their store look bad. Sorry, guys. I think that's everything. Drex, did I forget anything?
Nope. That's
okay.
Pretty good. That's a big store.
It is a big store, and they're right next to a grocery store as well. So that's handy. You can run in and get things for your fish, for your corals, for your cats, for your dogs, and your humans as well at the next door grocery store. So everything is right here in this little corner. So I'm going to stop the recording here. Everybody have a wonderful night. Be safe. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Algae
for having us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Algae Barn. We appreciate you guys and all your information you donated to us.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful night.
You guys too.
Bye-bye.